Hey everyone! Today we're exploring another chilling and disturbing case. If you'd like to support the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stay engaged. It really means a lot. I truly appreciate it. Now, take a deep breath and let's dive in.
In the city of luxury and excess, where money can buy almost anything, a Ukrainian model thought she had found her golden ticket. Fame, wealth, and a powerful man who promised her the world. But what looked like a dream was the beginning of a carefully laid trap. She was young, ambitious, and beautiful. For her, Dubai was the land of opportunity, a place where models from across the globe were discovered. That's where she met him, a sheikh, a man of status and unimaginable influence. To outsiders, he was a generous benefactor, but behind the polished smile, he carried a darkness no one could imagine. He knew exactly how to lure her in. Lavish gifts, exclusive trips, promises of love and protection. But it wasn't love he wanted, it was control. And when she tried to pull away, his obsession grew. He wasn't a man who handled rejection. He was a man who turned rejection into revenge. What she believed was passion was something far more sinister. The sheikh carried a deadly secret: HIV. And according to chilling allegations, he weaponized it. What most would see as a tragedy, he used as punishment. The Ukrainian model would only discover the truth after a devastating diagnosis. Her glittering new life shattered in seconds. HIV positive, betrayed, broken, and worst of all, she realized this wasn't an accident. The man who promised her the world had instead destroyed her future. But this was just the beginning of her nightmare. Because in Dubai, power can silence even the loudest cries for justice. She tried to report what happened. She wanted justice, but in a land where influence bends the rules, her words carried little weight. Each door she knocked on closed in her face. The sheikh's power was his greatest weapon. He had wealth, he had connections, and more importantly, he had silence on his side. In Dubai, reputation is everything, and exposing a man of such high status could shake the very foundations of his empire. Friends distanced themselves. Modeling agencies cut ties. Overnight, she went from rising star to outcast. She was isolated, shamed, and terrified. And the man who destroyed her life? He carried on as if nothing had happened. But her story didn't end with silence. Because soon, whispers began to surface. Whispers of other women, other victims, other lives shattered in the exact same way. The Ukrainian model wasn't the first, and she wouldn't be the last. Behind the polished image of the sheikh, a disturbing pattern began to emerge. Multiple women, all connected to him, all left broken. But fear kept them quiet. Speaking out against a man like him wasn't just dangerous, it was unthinkable. Some women fled the country. Others disappeared into silence, their suffering buried under the weight of his power. For the Ukrainian model, the realization was devastating. She wasn't the only victim. She was part of something much larger, a deliberate pattern of cruelty. And she knew, if she stayed silent, more lives would be destroyed. She had a choice: stay silent and survive, or fight back and risk everything. But what she didn't know was that someone was already watching her every move. By now, she knew the truth. The sheikh wasn't just a lover gone wrong. He was a predator. But knowledge came with a price. Because the moment she began piecing the story together, she realized she was being watched. It started with strange calls at night, cars idling outside her apartment, men she didn't recognize suddenly appearing at every corner. She was being tracked, monitored, controlled, even from a distance. Then came the warning, a message she'll never forget. Stop talking, or you'll regret it. The sheikh wanted her silent, and he was prepared to use fear to make sure she stayed that way. Her life became a prison of paranoia. Every knock on the door felt like the end. Every shadow outside the window looked like his men. She knew she was running out of time. She had to decide whether to flee or fight. But the Sheikh wasn't finished with her yet, because what she didn't know was that his revenge was far from over. After weeks of intimidation, he changed his tactics. Suddenly, he was apologetic, charming again, offering gifts, money, even promises of marriage. He made her believe, just for a moment, that maybe she was wrong about him. But it wasn't love. It wasn't forgiveness. It was bait. He wanted her close again. Close enough to control, close enough to silence, close enough to destroy. That's when she discovered the unthinkable. She wasn't the only one he lured back with promises. The Sheikh was grooming another woman, another victim. And this time, she realized the cycle would never stop. For her, the betrayal was unbearable. But for the Sheikh, it was only the beginning of his deadly game. The Ukrainian model wasn't the only one trapped. The Sheikh had already set his sights on another woman, promising her the same gifts, the same glamorous lifestyle, the same lies. It was the same pattern, repeating itself like clockwork. But now, the Sheikh wanted his first victim to suffer twice. He flaunted the new woman in public, letting the model see what she had lost. He taunted her with messages. He wanted her broken, humiliated, and silent, all while continuing his secret plan with the next victim. Her health was failing, her career destroyed, and now her dignity was under attack. The Sheikh wasn't just taking her future, he was erasing her completely. And yet, the more she tried to fight, the more dangerous he became. And soon, she would discover just how far the Sheikh was willing to go to keep her silent. For weeks, the model lived in fear. But fear soon turned into terror. Because the Sheikh's threats were no longer just whispers in the shadows. They were now standing right in front of her. It began with warnings. Notes slipped under her door. Anonymous messages that read, "Stop talking, or else." At first, she tried to ignore them, but the threats became darker, more personal, more violent. Then came the night she would never forget. A car followed her home. Two men stepped out, their faces hidden. One grabbed her, whispering the Sheikh's name. She managed to escape. But the message was clear. If she kept pushing, they would silence her forever. She became a prisoner in her own home, trapped by paranoia, trapped by fear. She knew now. This wasn't just about revenge anymore. This was about survival. And just when she thought it couldn't get worse, she uncovered something that would make her blood run cold. The Sheikh's cruelty went far beyond her, and reached into places she never imagined. By day, he presented himself as a man of faith, a family man, a respected figure in society. But by night, he lived in darkness. Secret affairs, paid companions, parties hidden behind palace walls. He was the picture of religious devotion in public, but in private, he indulged in every vice imaginable. The Ukrainian model discovered files, messages, and names, a list of women, many foreign, many vulnerable, all lured into his trap. To him, they weren't people. They were trophies, and when he was finished with them, they were discarded, broken, and silenced. And then came the most devastating truth of all. She wasn't the only one infected. There were others, women whose lives were shattered the same way. The Sheikh hadn't just punished her. He had turned HIV into his weapon of control. And now, she faced the most dangerous choice yet. Expose his secrets and risk everything, or remain silent and let his dark empire grow. He had friends in the police, allies in government, people who owed him favors, and people too afraid to cross him. Reports could vanish overnight. Complaints disappeared. Victims were silenced before their voices could ever be heard. The Ukrainian model wasn't alone. There were others, many others, each with the same story of promises, betrayal, and ruin. Some fled the country. Others never made it out. And still, the Sheikh moved freely, untouchable, unstoppable. With every day, her fear grew, but so did her desperation. She had evidence now, proof of his crimes, proof of his empire. But exposing him meant declaring war against a man who never lost. And then, the final message arrived, a warning that made her realize just how far he was willing to go to protect his empire. The endgame was coming, and she might not survive it. It was the moment she feared most. The Sheikh had given her his final warning, and now she understood the truth. She wasn't just fighting for justice anymore. She was fighting for her life. She had evidence of everything: the gifts, the threats, the infection, and the other women. Enough to destroy his empire, if only she could get it into the right hands. But every move she made, he was one step ahead. In public, he remained untouchable, smiling, celebrated, worshipped as a man of power and faith. But behind closed doors, he controlled a kingdom of silence, a kingdom built on fear, corruption, and blood. Then she vanished. Some say she fled the country. Others whisper she was silenced before she ever escaped. To this day, her fate remains shrouded in mystery. What is certain is this: one Sheikh used his power not to protect, but to destroy. He turned love into a weapon and lives into trophies. And the question remains: how many more victims remain hidden in the shadows of power, their voices buried forever?
What are your thoughts on this case? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to stay updated with more stories, where each case isn't just about crime, but also offers a lesson for life.